Okay, so you could use this pattern on anything that's at least one fret up, and that's like bad news for people who don't like to play one fret up. It's difficult to play one fret up. If you want to play 6 7 R 2 3 4 5 6, you would go. So it's kind of tough down here, um, because the first fret nut is a little higher than the other frets, is what it is, probably. But you can adjust the guitar. It's got this adjustment nut on it somewhere. They all have an adjustment nut somewhere around here that you can actually adjust the attitude of the how bent the neck is. So I don't do that. I only did that once for the guitar. They usually come preset. So that's a technical topic. Anyway, so this works. All right. And there's a different way of looking at this pattern stack instead of just, S2L and then an S3L over it, and then an S2L over that, and then S3L over that, and that'll work. It'll work, but you have to put it through the tuning warp wherever that comes in. So you just get used to it. When you're approaching string 5, I call it string 5, you're going to have to move the pattern up one fret. That's not the same one fret that I was talking about with what we were just playing, one fret up the fret nut, but it does affect it when you're doing the key of C. The warp will actually bring two notes into the picture, from nothing onto the strings, where you can play pretty much a C scale from the third, all the way up without worrying about it, kind of thing. I'm looking at the wrong pattern. We're over here. Starting from the 3 here, you go 3 4 5 6 7 root. Now we're on root, and we can continue to 2 3 4. Now we're going to go into the S3XLs, because we're going to here's our 3 and our 7 we couldn't get. Okay, so it's going to go into the S3XLs. Now we have to warp. We should end up on the F there, or the 4. Bam, bam, bam. Oh well, it's not the 4. It's the 2. All right, so we were actually in the key of E flat or something like that on my guitar. That's what you do for when you down tune your guitar. So you play an E down here. Then when you play that C shape, you're actually getting an A flat. That's why I call it it's not an A flat instrument, because when I play an A flat, I get an A flat, and the labeled keys are A flat. I haven't labeled the keys, so this is anything else. So this is a C instrument. I play an A flat, it comes out an A flat. It's just that I have to play it different. My other guitar that I made for teaching, that has the E note here, I found I didn't want to keep it tuned up to an E, and I down tuned that one. When you change the tuning but you play the same thing, then you can call it a D instrument or a C instrument, a down D instrument or a down C instrument. Okay, or if you take it all the way down to the G. If you take it down a fourth and you're playing an E shape where an E should be, and it comes out a B, all right, you can call it a G instrument, because you when you're calling it an instrument, you're calling it the key that would the actual tone that would come out when you play a C, not when you play an E. So it's a reference to a C. When I play a C here, you tell me to play a C. If we were in a band and somebody said, "Could you play me a C?" I go, "Yeah." You know, and I want to stop. So that would be, actually, it is a C. All right. It's different than if you think you're playing something and it comes out different. If you think you're playing something and it comes out a different tone, then you are playing in that's an instrument is in that tone. So we get off on these tangents, but the point is about these tangents is, in guitar, that helps you in developing anything. Oh, I got an idea, let me develop it. Because when you're playing and improvising, you want to have an I can do this and I can think this out and I can play this out now. Not just say, oh, I don't know where all the notes are. I can play guitar. Put it away, go on and do something else. No, you actually have to prove that you can do it, because it's reinforcement. It's reinforcement of the ideas. So this pattern works. And look, the little repair I did over here went away. It didn't stay with us. So if you want to play it safe, you can do this pattern, but there's best times to do this pattern. This pattern's a lot more fun. And then another thing that this particular chart is about, well, let's see what this chart is about. I can't see what it's saying right now. What it's saying is modal scales piano approach. Uh-oh, we better hurry up because we got to get to the other charts. Here's piano approach. Okay, so we got the piano up here. We can talk about modal scales. All right. So what is a modal scale? All right, C is a modal scale. C is the mode of Ionian. Okay, then D is the mode of Dorian. E would be the mode of Phrygian. Now in the key of E, it would be, that would be the Dorian, and then that would be the Dorian in C. The Ionian would be this would be the Dorian in C. This would be in E rather, and this would be the Phrygian in E. The fourth of E is A, but notice it's got the augmented fourth. It's not the fourth like this. That ain't it. It's a beautiful chord, really. So we're going to talk about how to play the modes, and we have 3 charts to cover. All right, this is where we actually get into everything. Okay, so before we jump into everything, it can be done from this chart. So we talked about the patterns. This is here just for review. There are ways to look at the stack. You can look at it as a stack of S2Ls and S3Ls and S2Ls, or you can look at it, you can take a part of the stack. Remember, as long as it gets to the repeat point, you can look at it as, for instance, here we got an S2L and S3L. We don't really need this underneath here, but we show it to see how it fits. Otherwise, you'd have to do this thing, and this goes back around down here. So when I'm illustrating a chart, you want to have enough, a pattern, want to have enough stacks so that every case is covered. S2L going into the S3S, S3S going into the S2L, S2L going back into the S3S. That kind